In an age of endless information, the true advantage is not access, it is interpretation. Welcome to Aneke TV, where journalism goes beyond headlines, beyond reaction, beyond speculation. Here, stories are investigated, issues are analyzed, voices are challenged, because an informed society is a stronger society. A discerning audience is a powerful audience. We are live, daily broadcasting, relentless clarity. Aneke TV, where knowledge meets broadcast.
Many thanks for joining us. From the latest shift in global energy prices to the impact of the National Single Window Project on Nigerian trade, we are tracking the numbers that matters to your wallet and your business. This is the Business Desk. I'm Uche Osai. Let's dive into the market. Let's quickly run to the Nigerian stock market and look at the performance for yesterday, where a historic milestone this week with the All-Share Index ASI crossing the 200,000 point threshold for the first time. As of the close of trading on Tuesday, March 24, 2026, the market sustained its bullish momentum, gaining approximately 1.1 trillion naira in a single session. No, that's quite historic. So when we look at the market breadth, we can tell that the market breadth was positive with our 7 gainers compared to 23 losers. Now let's quickly run to top 5 gainers. When the session yesterday was led by a 10% surge in Airtel Africa, which single-handedly drove much of the index appreciation. The Airtel Africa yesterday closed at 2,497 naira, making a positive adjustment of about 10%, and they are followed by John Holt, which closed 14 naira 30 kobo, equally in the bullish, making a 10% positive adjustment. And we are seeing Legend Internet equally bullish of a 10% positive adjustments, closing at 6 naira 60 kobo. Then Consolidated Hallmark equally closed 4 naira 95 kobo, making a positive adjustment of 10%. Then Zikis Agro Allied equally closed in the bullish of a 9.97 positive adjustment, closing at 10 naira 37 kobo. Now let's quickly run along to look at the top 5 losers for yesterday. We are profit taking in the banking and microfinance sector led the decliners for the day. We are seeing MPF Microfinance Bank closing in the dip of 6.29%, closing trading at 6 naira 56 kobo. Royal Exchange closed at 1 naira 78 kobo, making a dip of 5.32% adjustment. We are seeing Computer Warehouse closing at 20 naira 75 kobo, equally in the dip, a very big dip of a minus 4.82%. We are looking at Veritas Capital equally in the dip as well, closing on a negative 4.21% to close at 2 naira 5 kobo. Then UPDC equally in the dip, yes, a very deep, where they close at a negative 3.88% adjustment to close the book at 4 naira 95 kobo. Now, when we run along to look at the sectorial performance, we'll tell you that the Nigerian Exchange Banking Index rose by 0.5%, contributing to a 1-week gain of 2.72%. And then when you quickly run to the oil and gas sector, we will tell that the index has seen a massive 60.83% growth so far in 2026. Yesterday's trading showed a slight cooling off for some tickers, yes, even as the broader energy market remains tight. Then let's quickly take a look at Naira. We can tell you at the official market, Naira closed at 1,388 naira 38 kobo against the dollar, and against the British pound on the official market it sold at 1,750 naira 45 kobo, and against euro at the official market it sold at 1,505 naira 20 kobo, whereas at the street market naira sold against the dollar at 1,410 naira and against the British pound at 1,795 naira, while trading against the euro at the street market at 1,530 naira for yesterday. Now let's quickly run down to give you our market advice for today for want of time. Yes, for want of time, we'll give you our market advice for today to help you make the right decisions to navigate the current market effectively. As at this morning, here is our direct actionable move. We'll tell you that you should prioritize the tier 1 banks. Yes, with the March 31st deadline, less than a week away. Most of the banking sector have already cleared the new capital hurdles. Why do we post recapitalization? Why do we take this position? I will tell you that post recapitalization, this bank will have massive lending, dry power, likely leading to a stronger dividend payout and share price appreciation in quarter 3 and quarter 4. And then when we look at the oil and gas sector, we'll tell you that you should take on heavyweights like Seplat and Aradel. Yes, with the Brent crude holding above $100, those stocks remain the best natural hedge against naira volatility. And looking at fixed income, we'll tell you that you should look at treasury bills like NTBs and OMOs. Yes, CBN is aggressively mopping up liquidity to fight inflation, so these top rates remain highly attractive, avoiding long-dated bonds for now, as interest rate volatility makes them risky if the CBN hikes rate again to defend the naira. And then against the foreign exchange in the FS strategy is for you to don't go in on the panic buy as dollars get to 410 $1,410 naira at the moment. Don't take the street panic buying, just take a defensive position for now. And then looking at inflation and diversification, we'll tell you that this is a time for you to consider the real estate and agricultural linked instruments. Yes, this where you should move towards the hinterland and the southeast or north central, for your real estate positioning. This reason is because as logistics rise globally due to the oil prices, owning assets closer to production or essential housing, provides a hard asset that shield paper currency, and then paper currency cannot match that in any way. So in all, our position is that of cautious optimism as you look at tier 1 banking sector for defensive position, for appreciable position in quarter 3 and quarter 4. And that's it for today on the business update. I am Uche Osai. Invest wisely.
In a world that never stands still, where stories break in seconds and moments shape history, one station keeps you connected to your nation, to the continent, to the world.
From breaking news to powerful stories, from business and politics to culture, lifestyle and entertainment, we inform, we inspire, we keep you ahead.
This is more than television. This is your window to everywhere that matters.
Aneke TV. Move with the world.
Need advert placements, coverage for events, or the latest news stories? Call 070-3043-7110 right now. Aneke TV, move with the world.
Morning headlines before you step out. Midday updates while you walk. Evening analysis when the day winds down. Wherever life takes you, Aneke TV keeps you informed, connected, and ahead. Aneke TV. Move with the world. In an age of endless information, the true advantage is not access, it is interpretation. Welcome to Aneke TV, where journalism goes beyond headlines, beyond reaction, beyond speculation. Here, stories are investigated, issues are analyzed, voices are challenged, because an informed society is a stronger society. A discerning audience is a powerful audience. We are live, daily broadcasting, relentless clarity. Aneke TV, where knowledge meets broadcast. Good morning and welcome to News Around the Globe on Aneke TV. I'm Good Hope Chukuma. Glad to have you join us. Headlines. Minister of Power apologizes over nationwide electricity outages. On the foreign scene, Ghana signs landmark defense partnership with European Union. On business, Central Bank of Nigeria directs money transfer operators to open Naira settlement accounts. Now the news in details. The Minister of Power, Debayo Adelabu, has issued a public apology to Nigerians about the worsening electricity supply amid an intense nationwide heat wave. Speaking at a press conference in Abuja, the minister acknowledged that the current epileptic power situation has imposed significant hardship on households, educational institutions, and industrial operations across the country. Adelabu explained that despite relative stability recorded in 2025, the downturn in 2026 is linked to deep-rooted structural challenges. He identified a critical shortage in gas supply and the deterioration of power infrastructure as major factors, revealing that nearly 70% of Nigeria's power generation plants are currently idle. The minister further announced that the crisis was compounded by a recent explosion at the Kainji power facility and an accumulated debt of about 6.8 trillion naira owed to generation companies, which has disrupted gas supply chains. He described the situation as a perfect storm of operational and financial constraints affecting the sector. He, however, assured Nigerians that efforts are on the way to restore stability with noticeable improvements expected within 2 weeks. Adelabu added that a technical committee has been established to fast-track pipeline repairs and enforce compliance among suppliers, while reaffirming the federal government's target of achieving 6,000 megawatts of electricity generation before the end of 2026. Nigeria has intensified its campaign against tuberculosis as the country marks World Tuberculosis Day 2026, with renewed calls for stronger political will and increased domestic funding. The First Lady, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, emphasized the urgency of eliminating the disease, noting that although it is curable, it remains a major public health concern. Also lending her voice, the wife of the Anambra State Governor, Mrs. Nonye Soludo, warned that misinformation and public ignorance continue to fuel and spread tuberculosis. The stressed that diagnosis and treatment are available free of charge in public health facilities, urging Nigerians to seek prompt medical attention for symptoms such as persistent cough, night sweats, and unexplained weight loss. Health authorities, including the World Health Organization, have raised concerns over a widening funding gap in Nigeria's tuberculosis response. Experts disclose that over 70% of the required funding remains unmet, with fears that essential drugs and diagnostic tools could be depleted by June 2026 if urgent financial interventions are not made. Despite the challenges, progress has been recorded, with treatment coverage rising significantly in recent years. Stakeholders are now advocating improved accountability frameworks and expanded vaccination programs, maintaining that Nigeria can eliminate tuberculosis if funding gaps are addressed and stigma associated with diseases is eliminated. The Southeast Zonal Congress of the All Progressive Congress is set to hold in Enugu in line with the party's 2026 timetable for nationwide congresses. The exercise forms part of internal processes aimed at strengthening party structures ahead of future political activities. In a formal notice to the Independent National Electoral Commission, the party confirmed that the Southeast Congress would take place at the multipurpose hall of Hotel Presidential, Enugu. The notification was jointly signed by National Chairman Netanwe Yuwada and National Secretary Surajuddin Bashiru. Other designated venues include Mobolaji Johnson Arena in Lagos for the Southwest, Dome Event Center in Asaba for the South-South, and the Yaradowa Center in Kaduna for the Northwest. Additional locations are Gombe International Conference Center for the Northeast and the Government House Conference Hall in Lafia for the North Central Zone. The congresses are scheduled to commence simultaneously at 10 a.m. across all zones, with party officials expected to oversee proceedings in accordance with established electoral guidelines. The Inter-Party Advisory Council, IPAC, has rejected key provisions of the Electoral Act 2026, citing concerns over inclusiveness and electoral integrity. The Council's National Chairman, Yusuf Dantale, described aspects of the legislation as inconsistent with public expectations. IPAC specifically opposed the compulsory adoption of direct primaries and limited time frame for submission of party membership registers linked to national identification number. The council warned that such requirements could disenfranchise a significant number of Nigerians and disrupt party operations. Responding, Chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Professor George Amopiton, defended the reforms, stating that updated regulations are necessary to align with evolving electoral realities. He maintained that the commission remains neutral while enforcing compliance with the law. Meanwhile, National Chairman of the African Democratic Congress, Senator David Mark, linked growing political dissatisfaction to governance concern, stressing the need for stronger internal democracy. The developments signal possible legal and political contestations ahead of the 2027 general elections. The Christian Council of Nigeria (CCN) and Jamaatul Nasri Islam have raised concerns over the misuse of artificial intelligence under the Nigerian Religious Coalition on Artificial Intelligence. The groups warn that unregulated AI deployment could undermine moral values and societal trust. Speaking in Enugu, director of the CCN Institute of Church and Society, Reverend Kolade Fadahunsi, cautioned that while AI holds transformative potential, its misuse could, particularly in spreading misinformation, poses serious risks to social cohesion. Also speaking, Chief Imam of Imo State, Yusuf Suleiman Njoko, described artificial intelligence as a double-edged tool capable of distorting public perception if not properly regulated. He cited incidents of AI-generated misinformation involving religious figures as cause for concern. The coalition called on policymakers, media practitioners, and technology experts to develop ethical frameworks to ensure AI supports truth, accountability, and human dignity, while urging journalists to adopt strict verification standards in the evolving digital landscape. Governor Ahmed Aliyu has announced measures to improve discipline and productivity within the Sokoto State Civil Service. The initiative includes the establishment of a committee to identify and reward punctual and dedicated workers. The governor expressed concern over rising absenteeism and lateness among civil servants, warning that such practices would no longer be tolerated. He disclosed plans to conduct unscheduled inspections across ministries, departments, and agencies to enforce compliance. While emphasizing accountability, the governor reassured workers of continued commitment to their welfare, urging them to reciprocate ongoing reforms with professionalism and dedication to duty. Head of Service Abdul Kader Ahmed commended the administration's efforts, noting achievements such as recruitment and prompt salary payments. The government also reiterated plans to revive local industries to strengthen the state's economy. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has presented official vehicles to grade level 17 officers in Lagos State Public Service as part of efforts to enhance administrative efficiency. The gesture is targeted at top-level directors overseeing key government operations. Sanwo-Olu stated that equipping senior civil servants is essential for effective service delivery, describing them as central to the implementation of the state's development agenda. The initiative marks the third phase of such support since 2023, following similar distributions to officers in the health and education sectors as well as other areas of the civil service. Officials indicated that the program will continue periodically to ensure sustained motivation and improved performance among senior government personnel. The Teachers Registration Council of Nigeria has recorded over 10,000 registrations for its upcoming professional qualifying examination scheduled for May 14 to 16, 2026. The examination is part of efforts to standardize teaching practice nationwide. Registrar of TRCN, Ronke Soyombo, attributed the development to growing acceptance of the Council's digital registration platform introduced in 2025. She acknowledged initial technical challenges experienced during the rollout, explaining that high user traffic and system upgrades contributed to early difficulties. The Council maintained that the platform has since stabilized, enhancing efficiency in teacher licensing and registration processes across the country. The Inspector General of Police, Olatunji Wan, has ordered a nationwide deployment of senior officers within the Nigerian police force. The move is aimed at strengthening operational effectiveness and leadership capacity. Force Public Relations Officer Anthony Okon Placide confirmed that the reshuffle affects Assistant Inspector General and Commissioners of Police across various commands and departments. Key postings include new leadership for strategic zones and state commands, with officers assigned based on experience and operational needs. The Inspector General charged the officers to uphold professionalism and discipline, assuring that performance will be closely monitored to address evolving security challenges. A fire outbreak has destroyed a 10-room residential building in Ilorin, Kwara State, following a power surge linked to unstable electricity supply. The incident occurred at Arta compound near Asa Dam Road. According to the Kwara State Fire Service, the fire started in a locked room and spread rapidly across the building before emergency services were alerted. Firefighters eventually contained the blaze, preventing it from affecting nearby structures, although the affected building was completely destroyed. Director of the Fire Service, Alabi Muhammad, advised residents to promptly contact emergency responders during fire incidents and adopt preventive measures such as installing surge protectors. News around the globe is coming to you live from Aneke TV. Remember, you can stay connected with us on all social media platforms: Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, all at Aneke TV. Now, a quick recap of the major stories making the news. Minister of Power apologizes for erratic power supply nationwide. Coming up shortly on the foreign scene, Ghana signs historic defense agreement with European Union. On business, Central Bank of Nigeria mandates Naira accounts for money transfer operators. We'll be right back.
In a world that never stands still, where stories break in seconds and moments shape history, one station keeps you connected to your nation, to the continent, to the world.
From breaking news to powerful stories, from business and politics to culture, lifestyle and entertainment, we inform, we inspire, we keep you ahead.
This is more than television. This is your window to everywhere that matters.
Aneke TV. Move with the world. Welcome back. Ghana has signed a landmark security and defense partnership with the European Union, becoming the first African country to formalize such a comprehensive agreement with the bloc. The development was confirmed by European Union High Representative for Foreign Affairs, Kaja Kallas, who described the pact as a strategic milestone in Africa-Europe relations. The agreement is designed to strengthen Ghana's defense capacity through enhanced intelligence sharing, joint military training, and coordinated responses to emerging security threats. It comes at a time of heightened concerns over maritime insecurity in the Gulf of Guinea and extremist activities spreading across the Sahel region. Under the framework, both parties will collaborate on equipment modernization, cyber defense systems, and operational readiness. The European Union noted that Ghana's democratic stability and strategic positioning made it a suitable partner for this first-of-its-kind defense arrangement on the continent. The partnership is expected to deepen regional security cooperation and may serve as a model for similar agreements with other African nations. Analysts say the deal will also support Ghana in protecting its critical infrastructure, including offshore oil and gas assets. Former President of Brazil, Jair Bolsonaro, has been granted house arrest on medical grounds following a severe illness. The ruling was issued by Supreme Court Justice Alexander de Moraes after earlier requests for humanitarian release were denied. Bolsonaro, who is serving a prison sentence linked to his alleged role in a 2022 coup plot, was recently hospitalized with acute pneumonia and admitted to intensive care. The medical experts advised that recovery requires sustained monitoring beyond the capacity of the correctional facility. The court approved strict conditions for his house confinement, including continuous electronic monitoring and restrictions on visitors. Only immediate family members, legal representatives, and medical personnel are permitted access during the period of recovery. Justice Moraes ordered a review of the arrangement within 90 days to determine whether the former president should return to custody. The ruling reflects a balance between humanitarian considerations and concerns about compliance with judicial orders. President of the United States, Donald Trump, has indicated ongoing diplomatic efforts to resolve escalating tensions in the Middle East, describing talks as very strong. However, officials in Iran have dismissed the claims, accusing Washington of strategic posturing. Attention has shifted to Mohammad Ghalibaf, a senior Iranian figure with a background in the Revolutionary Guard, who is perceived as influential in bridging internal political and military interests. Despite this, Iranian authorities maintain that no formal negotiations are underway. The situation remains volatile following the reported killing of senior officials Ali Lajerunani, which has heightened security tensions within Iran's leadership structure. Public statements from Iranian officials continue to reflect a hardline stance amid growing international concern. Regional and global actors, including Oman, Turkey, Egypt, and Pakistan, are engaging in diplomatic efforts to prevent further escalation. Analysts warn that failure to reach consensus could have far-reaching economic and security implications globally. The Central Bank of Nigeria has introduced new regulations to enhance transparency in diaspora remittances and strengthen foreign exchange inflows. The directive mandates all international money transfer operators to maintain designated Naira settlement accounts with authorized dealer banks. According to the senior governor, Olayemi Kadoso, the policy effective May 1st, 2026 requires that all remittance inflows be processed through these accounts to ensure traceability and regulatory compliance. The Apex banks also directed operators to adopt market reflective exchange rates using globally recognized pricing benchmarks. This is aimed at discouraging informal market practices and encouraging the use of official financial channels. The move follows a decline in recorded remittance inflows and is part of broader efforts to stabilize the Naira. Financial experts say the policy could improve liquidity and reinforce confidence in Nigeria's foreign exchange management system. Now in sports, the Nigerian national football team have commenced preparations for upcoming international friendly matches, with 13 players arriving at the team's training camp in Antalya, Turkey. The early arrivals include key players such as Alex Iwobi and Frank Aneke. Also in camp are experienced players including Moses Simon and Paul Onuachu, alongside new invitees seeking to make their debut appearances for the senior national team. Team officials confirmed that additional players are expected to join camp ahead of full training sessions scheduled to begin immediately. The technical crew is focusing on tactical drills and team cohesion. Nigeria is set to face Iran in the first friendly, followed by a second match against Jordan. The fixtures are part of preparations for future international competitions. Mohamed Salah has announced his decision to leave Liverpool Football Club at the end of the current season, bringing an end to a highly successful tenure with the club. Salah, who joined Liverpool in 2017, confirmed that he requested an early conclusion to his contract to allow for a proper farewell. The forward has played a pivotal role in the club's recent successes during his time at Anfield. Salah contributed significantly to major trophies, including the English Premier League and UEFA Champions League, while establishing himself as one of the club's leading goal scorers. Liverpool management expressed appreciation for his contributions, noting his impact on the team's achievements. His departure is expected to mark a major transition to the club's attacking lineup. Selling Sports, the Nigerian National League has postponed 3 match day 15 fixtures in Conference A due to venue constraints. The affected matches include fixtures involving Inter Lagos, Heartland FC, and other teams scheduled to play in Lagos. Chief Operating Officer of the league, Danlami Alanana, confirmed that the unavailability of the Mobolaji Johnson Arena necessitated the postponement. In a related development, all matches in Conference D have been suspended pending the outcome of disciplinary cases before the Nigerian Football Federation. League authorities stated that new dates will be announced after the resolution of logistical and disciplinary issues. The disruptions are expected to impact standings as the season progresses. Now in entertainment, Nollywood actress Omotola Jalade Ekinde has reacted to a viral incident during a high-profile event in Lagos, where she was reportedly asked to identify herself by a member of the media. The development occurred at a Miss Nigeria board function, where the actress expressed displeasure over the interaction. The incident has since generated widespread reactions on social media. Fellow actress Rita Dominic, speaking on behalf of the organizers, issued a statement expressing regret over the situation and reaffirming respect for Ekende's contribution to the film industry. The organizers also urged the media to adhere to professional standards and event protocols. Observers say the incident highlights ongoing conversations about professionalism and respect within the entertainment industry. And finally, before we go on news around the globe, a recap of our top stories. The Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu, has apologized to Nigerians over persistent nationwide power outages, attributing the situation to gas supply shortages, aging infrastructure and mounting sector debts, while assuring that efforts are underway to restore stable electricity supply. On the foreign scene, The government of Ghana has signed a landmark defense and security cooperation agreement with the European Union, with European Union High Representative for Foreign Affairs, Kaja Kallas, confirming the pact aimed at strengthening regional security and military collaboration. And business, the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Olayemi Cardoso, has directed all international money transfer operators to open and maintain designated Naira settlement accounts with authorized dealer banks to improve transparency and enhance foreign exchange inflows. That's news around the globe on Aneke TV. For more news and live updates, follow us on Facebook and YouTube, all at Aneke TV. I'm Good Hope Chukuma, thanking you for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Morning headlines before you step out. Midday updates while you walk. Evening analysis when the day winds down. Wherever life takes you, Aneke TV keeps you informed, connected, and ahead. Aneke TV. Move with the world.
Across Nigeria, electricity has become an everyday struggle. Blackouts are no longer occasional, they are part of daily life for millions of Nigerians. In homes, families spend long hours in darkness. Parents worry about keeping food fresh. Children struggle to study, and the cost of running generators adds to household expenses in an already challenging economy. Businesses are also feeling the pinch. Shops, restaurants, and small factories often spend more on fuel for generators than they earn in daily revenue. Perishable goods spoil. Production slows. Evening sales decline. Electricity, which should be a basic necessity, has become a luxury. Experts say the crisis stems from multiple factors: technical failures and aging infrastructure in the national grid, frequent gas shortages, and operational inefficiencies in distribution companies all contribute. Maintenance outage and tariff adjustments have further reduced the supply of electricity across the country. The impact on national development is significant. Schools struggle to conduct evening classes. Hospitals depend heavily on generators to keep life-saving equipment running. Businesses lose revenue, and the cost of doing business rises. The lack of stable electricity slows economic growth and limits opportunities for millions of Nigerians. Experts recommend practical solutions: increasing electricity generation, especially through renewable sources like solar, wind, and hydro, could reduce reliance on gas. Upgrading and maintaining infrastructure, stabilizing gas supply, and encouraging private sector participation in independent power projects would help expand supply and improve efficiency. Off-grid solutions such as solar panels, mini-grids, and inverters can supplement national supply, ensuring homes, schools, and businesses continue to function during outages. Energy conservation, smart meters, and transparent billing systems can also reduce losses and encourage reliable supply. Some businesses have already combined solar power with backup generators, cutting fuel costs by nearly half. Schools and hospitals using mini-grids continue operations even when the national grid fails. Expanding these solutions nationwide could significantly reduce the impact of blackouts, saving households money and boosting productivity. For now, Nigerians wait for a lasting solution. Stable and reliable electricity is not just convenience, it is the backbone of daily life, economic growth, and national development.
My name is Dr. Emmanuel Ihechi Asonye. I am the CEO of Omenka App LLC. I created Omenka App for the preservation of Igbo language and culture. Omenka App was established in New Mexico and it is headquartered in Albuquerque. But currently we are also being registered in Nigeria. We have a website. We are also on social media because my app is primarily for the Igbo community. In 2006, something significant happened among the Igbo community. UNESCO predicted that Igbo language was going to go into extinction, and that was because Igbo people are one of the most traveled people in the whole world. So the more children are born outside of Igbo land, the more they get disconnected. The app is on iOS, it's also on Android. Access the website and download the app from there. And over 2,000 people are using the app right now. But there's an app that will teach you about Igbo culture, Igbo people. We have Igbo poems, we have riddles and jokes, we have Igbo proverbs, then we have the word section where you are going to search Igbo words. Whatever word that you can find in English, you want to make sure it is found in the app in Igbo language. And I encourage everybody from their communities, you can do what we're doing in Omenka app with your own language and with your own culture. Do not allow your culture or your language to die.
Good day, Nigerians. Electricity has always been a major concern for Nigerians, from households to businesses. Today, we hit the streets to ask everyday Nigerians on a simple question: are you satisfied with the current electricity supply in your area?
I think there is a little improvement in terms of distribution, but the tariff, I'm not happy with the tariff. There is an increase in tariff. It's not about where I live. Everybody feels it because, I mean, whatever you put in, before a day or two, it goes up. So, yeah, it's not satisfactory. So they need to review the tariff, you know, to a government that feels for the people. People should enjoy something from the government. Almost all the things that are controlled by the state is on the increase. Think about electricity, think about fuel supply, water supply. It's not fair. An average Nigerian deserves a bit of fresh air, you know, so they can start it with reducing the tariff. For once, let's feel a reduction in tariff.
I'm not satisfied at all. The tariff is very, very high. Like 4 units for 1,000 naira is too much. It's too high. They should be giving us like 10 units for 1,000, please. It's too high. It's affecting me because I'm using industrial machine. I'm using a lot of electronics, so it's affecting me seriously. Sometimes you will collect a customer clothes that will charge the person like 10,000 naira. The light that you buy to sew the clothes is even more than the money that you charge the customer, so it's too high. Please, they should do something about it. They should do something about it. Even if they should increase the units. That 4 units for 1,000 naira is too much. It's too much.
Please, not fully satisfied, but it's the better. It's very, very better. I'm from the village, and we are getting it better now. At least when we have full light, and there's no day we don't have it. So I'm very happy now that something is very, very fine. Please, very fine. I mean very fine. Before, it used to affect me because I may not have, the main thing I have is the fridge and the phone. So at times I'll put something inside the fridge, it will spoil. But now it's no more like that. When I put, if there's no light in the morning, it will be in the night. Then my phone now is always available. Yes, there's a big change. They are doing better. Please, myself and other people around me will confirm. Because it's a village that know the most thing that is happening.
There should be a constant interaction one-on-one interaction, with stakeholder. There should be a kind of maybe monthly, I get me, or quarterly. The electricity distribution should convene a stakeholder meeting so that we can sit down and interact to know the way forward. Because the way things are, almost our earning is going into electricity.
They provide light very well, but the price is kind of high. But their light is, at least in a 24-hour space, we can have light for 20 hours. So the light is very stable. But it's just the amount, the tariff that is high.
There is a significant improvement in supply, I must confess. Yes, there is remarkable improvement. I can acknowledge that. But where the problem lies is most transformers are overloaded. And when it drops, when some fails, the response is not rapid. It's always very, very sluggish. Then in terms of tariff, government should try to subsidize electricity for the citizens. If this economy will thrive, 200 and something naira per, what is that, kilowatts or whatever, is so outrageous in the current economy. Many Nigerians are poor.
It's necessarily affecting us. Everybody is not comfortable. The business is affecting, livelihood is affecting, because when there's light, when there's electricity available, a lot of it takes shape. But when those things are not there, a lot of things will begin to dwindle, and many persons lives with the service of electricity. There are things you may not even use your generator to operate with. There are things you might use electricity to get into doing. But when those things are not there, it affects everybody. Even the consumers and the producers. It affects the whole structure of the society. So if those who are operating the electricity system in our society will now begin to understand that they are serving people, and the people know what they are doing, we are interested, we want to use these things for our daily well-being, then things will begin to flow very well.
Personally, I'm not satisfied in any way. Because, you see, sometimes it will take some time before they will bring the light. Sometimes they will bring it in a epileptic way, yet they still collect their money. They don't miss to collect their money. So for me, I'm not satisfied. I think they have to do some kind of reforms in their ministry or whatever I should call it. Understand? Because it's not the consumers that will come and do whatever that is necessary to be done. It's the power authority. They are the people that will have to do something to improve the supply. But people are not getting the regular supply needed, but they collect money on a regular basis.
We have constant light, but the tariff is actually expensive. And I don't know about other people that could not or cannot afford tariff, how they are actually managing. They should reduce it a little. The amount for buying unit of light, they should bring it down a little. Though I'm impressed with the amount of light we are getting currently, but it's too expensive, to be honest.
From Lagos to Enugu, Nigerians share their thoughts on the state of electricity today. Whether it's consistent power or consistent outrage, one thing is clear: electricity remains a top concern. We want to hear from you. Comment below, let us know your experience. Chinaza Ifeanyi, Aneke TV.
In a world that never stands still, where stories break in seconds and moments shape history, one station keeps you connected to your nation, to the continent, to the world.
From breaking news to powerful stories, from business and politics to culture, lifestyle and entertainment, we inform, we inspire, we keep you ahead.
This is more than television. This is your window to everywhere that matters.
Aneke TV. Move with the world.
Across Nigeria, electricity has become an everyday struggle. Blackouts are no longer occasional.
Anambra State, located in southeastern Nigeria, is one of the nation's most dynamic and enterprising regions. Created in 1976, it takes its name from the Anambra River, a tributary of the Niger. Its land is steeped in history, from the ancient Nri Kingdom, the cradle of Igbo civilization and spiritual authority, to the bustling commercial rise of Onitsha, one of West Africa's busiest trading cities. Every inch of its soil seems to breathe heritage, resilience, and the quiet power of innovation that defines the Igbo spirit. Anambra's people are known for their industrious drive, intellectual prowess, and unyielding creativity. Across Nigeria and beyond, they stand tall as business leaders, scholars, inventors, and professionals whose influence reaches every corner of society. From the sprawling market of Onitsha to the humming industrial machines in Nnewi, fondly called the Japan of Africa, the state exemplifies the fusion of tradition and modern enterprise. In Awka, the capital, new technology hubs and startups are springing up, harnessing the energy of a generation determined to build a future powered by knowledge and innovation. The state's endowments are immense. Anambra boasts of fertile soils that yield abundant harvest of yam, rice, cassava, and vegetables, feeding not just its people but the wider region. Sources: crude oil, natural gas, kaolin, and limestone, waiting to be fully harnessed. With a well-educated populace and a vibrant entrepreneurial culture, the state's economy is driven by small and medium-scale industries that continue to expand Nigeria's manufacturing frontiers. Culturally, Anambra is the heartbeat of Igbo identity. Age-long traditions and legendary figures like Nnamdi Azikiwe, Chinua Achebe, and Dora Akunyili, whose contributions have left indelible marks on Nigeria and the world. Its towns and villages are known for strong community bonds and progressive values that inspire excellence in every field. Anambra's potential lies not only in its natural and human resources, but in the unbreakable spirit of its people, a people who see every challenge as a call to greatness. With expanding infrastructure, digital transformation, and a thriving creative scene, the state stands poised to lead Nigeria into a new era of prosperity. It is a land where heritage meets ambition, where history fuels innovation, and where the light of progress never dims.
Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, 042. Pleasant greetings to everyone watching. You're tuning to Sunrise on Aneke TV, where every sunrise begins with delightfulness, love, and joy, bringing today's daily dose of brightness and peace. I am Good Hope Chukuma, coming to you live from our studio here in vibrant Enugu.
And good morning to you, our global audience. I'm Uche Osai. They say no matter how small a village is, the sun doesn't pass it by because it's small. The sun and the day is up. We're here to make sure that you just pass through this day, that you own it. Thank you for letting us into your space this beautiful morning. We're here to refresh, inform, and motivate.
It's Wednesday, the 25th day of March 2026. So it's another new and wonderful edition of Sunrise. It's power-packed morning with the latest news, weather, business, stock updates, hot topics, and that Sunrise Spark to help you on the day.
So, relax, grab that cup of coffee or tea. Enjoy the ride because the sunrise is here.
Coming up shortly, we kick things off with our quote of the day, something thoughtful to shift your perspective and help you stay well-driven or focused.
Then, it's straight into the day's top headlines. All the key news update that you need to remain informed will be shared, hot, debated, and of course, tasty.
We'll also give you a full weather forecast for cities across the southeast and beyond, so you know what to expect before stepping out.
And later we'll wrap things up by bringing to you the tech update, business information, and of course the sports wrap to keep you smiling.
Now to our inspiration segment, which is still a video from the veteran Nollywood actor Chiwetalago, which says, let's have the video.
Go on a short break.
Alright, we go on a short break and we'll be right back with the updates here. Stay right here.
In a world that never stands still, where stories break in seconds and moments shape history, one station keeps you connected to your nation, to the continent, to the world.
From breaking news to powerful stories, from business and politics to culture, lifestyle and entertainment, we inform, we inspire, we keep you ahead.
This is more than television. This is your window to everywhere that matters.
Aneke TV. Move with the world.
The married ones want divorce, while the unmarried ones want to get married and be loved. Children want to become adults, while the old ones just want a little more time. The unknown want fame, while the famous want privacy. Those who work every day want to rest, while the disabled just want to stand up one more time. The employed complain about stress, while the unemployed are desperately searching for any job. Some people are tired of eating the same food, while others are praying for one decent meal. Some can't sleep because of worries, while others slept but never woke up. Remember, you can't have it all. So, never take anything for granted. Learn to appreciate every single moment along life journey. Be a kind person. Love while you can. Love who you can. Help when and where you can. And give what you can. You never know what life has in store for you. People often desire what they don't have. Stop complaining too much. Be kind and compassionate. Make the most of the present moment. Someone is praying for the life you are complaining about. So be grateful and live well. Be grateful and learn to appreciate every single moment.
Need advert placements? Coverage for events or the latest news stories? Call 070-3043-7110 right now Aneke TV, move with the world.
Welcome back. You're still on Sunrise here on Aneke TV, and
yeah, speaking to that quote, we saw the veteran actor speaking to contentment. Yes, be contented wherever you find yourself, wherever you are. On listening to the veteran speak to contentment, when we think that the pasture is green at the other end, perhaps it may not be the same. So the key word this morning is for you to be contented, irrespective of the challenges, the situation you are facing. Do not envy anyone. He, in talking to and speaking to contentment, did let us know that there are people who are in search of sleep. Yet there are those who slept and never woke up from that sleep. So the key word is contentment from where you are. And I charge you this morning from Obote Market, from Main Market in Onitsha, from Ogige Market in Osaka, or any other markets in Aba, area market, or Ahihoro in Aba. Be contented with yourselves. Do not envy your neighbor. Do not look at another person's. They may make heavier sales than you, but you make more profit. So be contented where you are. Take life easy. Start from where you stand. And one thing is sure, tomorrow is better.
Tomorrow is better. We go over to our weather update for the day.
And you're still watching the weather. We are taking a look at the weather from the major cities in the southeast this morning.
Good morning, Oka. This morning kicks off bright with a mild sunshine at 25 to 28 degrees Celsius, clear and fresh. Afternoon heats up to about 34 to 36 degrees Celsius with sun-cloud mix and rising humidity, making it sticky. Night may come with brief showers, wet roads, and a cooler, calm, slightly damp evening feel.
And good morning, the cold city. Enugu this morning opens up with light breeze around 24 to 27 degrees Celsius. Easy starts before the heat builds up. Afternoon turns intense, ranging to about 35 to 37 degrees Celsius with strong sunshine and thick clouds. Night brings possible thunderstorms, lightning flashes, and short heavy rain, leaving warm, humid, and slightly breezy atmosphere.
Over to Abakaliki. Good morning, Abakaliki, Ebonyi State. This morning on Fort calm and cloudy at about 24 to 26 degrees Celsius, almost mild. Afternoon gets very intense, pushing to about 35 to 37 degrees Celsius with strong sun, storm clouds building. Night carries a stormy, breezy, and slightly restless feel with thunder chances.
Good morning, Imo State. Welcome to my favorite city of Owerri. Owerri this morning will be warm and temperature ranging to 25 to 27 degrees Celsius. Afternoon may be a little bit hotter, climbing to 34 to 36 degrees Celsius. Night stays warm, quiet, and a bit sticky with chances of quick rain bursts.
Good morning, Umahia. Morning rolls in with soft clouds and calm air. Around 24 to 27 degrees Celsius. Afternoon builds steadily to about 33 to 35 degrees Celsius with thick humidity and minimal breeze. Night feels fresh but slightly humid with light rain drifting through.
So, wherever you are in the southeast today, stay safe, dress light, do keep an umbrella handy, but remember that either rain or shine, we've got you covered. And this is your weather report here on Sunrise at Aneke TV. We'll go on a short break and we'll return with more updates. Stay with us.
In a world that never stands still, where stories break in seconds and moments shape history. One station keeps you connected to your nation, to the continent, to the world.
From breaking news to powerful stories, from business and politics to culture, lifestyle and entertainment, we inform, we inspire, we keep you ahead.
This is more than television. This is your window to everywhere that matters.
Aneke TV. Move with the world.
Need advert placements, coverage for events, or the latest news stories? Call 070-3043-7110 right now. Aneke TV, move with the world.
Welcome back. Now let's take a quick look at what's making a front page headlines across the major newspapers today. The Nation, The Punch, The Vanguard, and The Guardian newspaper with the Daily Trust.
And joining us this morning to give flesh to these issues is Aneke TV's in-house analyst, Res Arum. Mr. Res, a pleasure to see your sunrise.
Thank you, Mr. Oche, for having me once again.
Mr. Res, how has it been?
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
Yes.
Nigeria is trying, I'd say.
Well,
because you look glowing better than the last time you were here.
You talk about Nigeria, you forget that you should say the first things first.
And what is that?
The first thing is God.
Anyways, I wouldn't want to be joined on the. I wouldn't want to be joined. He's the maker of all men, all flesh, and the nation Nigeria is in his hands. But today we are speaking to the motherland.
Yeah, after God, then you cannot talk about the motherland.
Okay, now that I've given tributes to God, how is Nigeria treating you?
Fair.
Good. Also with us this morning is Sir Gerard Odo. Sir Gerard, how are you this morning?
I am fine. I'm doing very well.
And Nigeria is treating you fairly better?
Yes, we are steering it in the right direction.
All right.
Now on the Nation's headline where we're starting, it says APC, no threat to convention. APC, no threat to convention. On the Punch headline we have 2027 polls, PDP governors reject Wike blocks consensus chair. PDP governors reject Wike blocks consensus chair. Now on the Guardian we have ministers gauge support, popularity ahead of resignation deadline. Ministers gauge support, popularity ahead of resignation deadline. Now on the Vanguard, we have petrol. Marketers keep high price as crude drops. Then we have on the Daily Trust, which says parties move against Electoral Act. Parties move against Electoral Act. We're starting today's newspaper commentary with the Daily Trust, which says political parties are taking steps to challenge or amend the Electoral Act, likely due to concerns over certain provisions that may affect their chances in upcoming election. This move could involve legal action, lobbying, or pushing for legislative chances, signaling rising political tension and strategic positioning ahead of future polls.
All right, Mr. S, we are looking at the headline. The Electoral Act has been signed, yet IPAC, the political parties, are still kicking.
They're not just kicking. After or during a meeting with Aneke, where Aneke was trying to open up to regulations, formulations of regulations that will guide the elections, IPAC now pointed out certain aspects or certain aspects of the Electoral Act that seems not to favor the expectation of Nigerians, the political parties. They are of the opinion that even after a public hearing where there were inputs made from the public, that the National Assembly jettisoned these inputs, these independent inputs from here and there, that would have actually given them a direction to the yearnings and the yearnings of the people, what the people actually needed, since we are talking about democracy, which is the government of the people. And these members of the National Assembly are, there to represent the people. And the people were involved during the public hearings, and they made contributions, yet they jettisoned it. So IPAC kind of pointed at certain areas, like, of course, the already known 63, transmission real time, one. Then we have another one in terms of the primaries of the elections, which is either by consensus or direct primaries. So, and a host of other complaints which they said are not in consonance with the populist ideology. It's not a popular kind of idea to do in an election where you expect to get free, fair, and credible elections. So they're not happy, and of course they are asking the National Assembly to revisit. But some persons, political scientists, are beginning to say that whatever they're asking for is already belated. But if it is about the Electoral Act, there are flaws. He agreed, one of the speakers agreed that there are flaws in the Electoral Act, but nothing could be done on the interim, except if anybody is going to go back on it, the chances are that even the elections may be postponed, which results in the amendment of the Constitution itself, which is the major framework upon which the Electoral Act and of course the Aneke guidelines and rules and guidelines will rest on. So, which means there should be an amendment that empowers for pushing up of the elections. Therefore, that the Aneke on its own was pledging that elections, credibility of elections starts from when the process is ongoing. That it is the way they have done the process that will show how credible an election or the outcome of the election will be. That is Aneke. Amupitan Prof was saying that, trying to convince the IPAC that is a conglomerate of all political parties represented, that they are going to deliver a free, fair, and credible election. But who knows if, because in Nigeria so many things are said, but very little are done. Very little comes to pass in real times. So will INEC deliver a free, fair, and credible election or not? That is the question, on the mouth of Nigerians. And we are all waiting. We are all watching as things unfolds.
All right. Mr. Gerard, let me get your opinion on this issue.
Well, looking at the Electoral Act as amended 2022, you would find out that what's playing right now encompasses what we call institutional theory, where IPAC and some other organizations try to use their voice to influence their own interests and to proffer a free and credible election. So, in a setting like this, it is often it's clearly evident that IPAC and some other political institutions or organizations are making sure that INEC delivers a credible, free and fair election come 2027.
Okay. Mr. Rez, if I may, what are the chances that this electoral act will be reversed? Is this not an exercise in futility?
That's exactly what I'm saying. The National Assembly revisiting that electoral act is almost impracticable, given the situation that is existent in Nigeria electoral process presently, especially when we are looking at 2027 elections. It is near, the time is limited, the timetable is out, and even the parties are so choked up in meeting up with all these timetable issues, coming out. Some parties are still registering, and you are going to submit the registers with NIN. Remember, registers with NIN to INEC. And IPAC is also insisting that there are people who have not gotten their NIN. But that does not stop them from participating in the electoral process. So if they want to be members of a political party, why should there be a compulsory appendage of, including the NIN for registration of members into political parties? So these are some of the issues that are raised, and that the time does not give, and many parties are still registering. So when will they finish, do the party congresses, and then do the party's primaries? And the party primaries, which is confined to either consensus or direct primary. So these are the difficult things that the parties are now facing. So then how can you now go back to, amend the electoral law again, go back to the National Assembly to amend it, to seek for ideas and all that? It takes a whole lot of time, especially in Nigeria, or anywhere in the world. Anyway, amendment is not an easy thing. It's something that you have to do very carefully and perfect it. But in the present circumstance, Nigerian Electoral Act is not without flaws. Even in the 2022, it is still not without flaws. But I believe that the National Assembly of Nigeria will continue to look at our laws and even the grown-up to see ways of trying to get the perfect thing that we run based on the dynamism that is associated with our society.
All right. While we commend IPAC for their consistent interrogation of the system, that's not to say that the Electoral Act in itself doesn't have any flaws. But one may continue to raise concerns as to where IPAC was when they had the opportunity to engage the system, to not let the legislators and the ruling political party get away with signing the act into law, the Electoral Act as amended, Electoral Act 2026. There was an opportunity, and we feel that that opportunity was lost because the political parties, especially the opposition political parties, has not given a virile opposition. They have not in any way represented mobilized the Nigerian people into rejecting what was a similar scenario that was witnessed in 2015, pre-2015, when the ruling party today was in opposition. They mobilized Nigerians. Nigerians took a stand. And in this instance, Nigerians waited for the opposition political parties to give leadership, albeit the fact that we are opposition leaders who were seen. But the opposition political parties were not spotted when the time mattered most. However, we will continue to appreciate the fact that they are interrogating and engaging the system. Perhaps, let's see the good that may come out from this. Thank you.
I'll go over to the Punch headline, which says 2037 polls. PDP governors reject Wike's blocks. Consensus chair. Now, governors from the PDP have opposed a move by the Wike-led faction to impose a consensus candidate for party chairman. The disagreement highlights internal divisions within the party as it prepares for the 2027 elections, raising concerns about unity and strategy going forward. This is what we have been talking about just a few days ago, about the crisis in PDP, how the two sides are having issues. Now, the governorship side, that comprising of Bala Mohammed and Governor Seyi Makinde, have rejected Wike's side about bringing a national working committee who they have selected Senator Samuel Anyanwu and Abdulrahman Mohammed as national chairman and secretary who will lead the faction. This is just a play of someone not agreeing to what you're doing while the person comes out from your side. So it is telling on PDP as a whole, because at the end of the day, we are seeing them still having the crisis till now. Like the question are being asked, when will they settle themselves and when will they start to go in for their campaigns and for their conventions, which is coming up. So that's just the question that is here after all the whole thing.
All right.
Okay, the PDP crisis, a never-ending crisis. Of course, they have already brought out two persons consensus, not just the caretaker again. Those caretaker chairman and secretary almost they came out as the consensus chairman of the party, and of course the governors and the faction of the governors refused that offer. And of course, a few days back, we were discussing about these governors visiting Kwankwaso in Kano. That is in a bid to seek for where they will anchor, because certainly the way Wike is going with his faction, the tendency is that there may not be a reconciliation. And if there are no reconciliation, it means that they may not have candidates. That is, those of that faction may not have candidates because the Wike faction will not forward their names to Aneke. Then they will have to seek for alternative ways of trying to seek elections, to express their visions and aspirations in the polity. So, Wike has always taken a stand. The stand is Tinubu for presidency and nothing more or less than that. And based on that stand, Wike will never compromise anything for Tinubu's presidency. whatever comes against it goes. For him, what he wants is Tinubu presidency. And of course, there's much more behind what he wants. Because what he wants is going to help him to get his own vision aspiration. He has a vision and aspiration for the presidency, either as a vice president or presidency. And who knows, he's going about it, he's starting early to walk forward, towards ensuring that he gets that. But that politics is what it is. It could change anytime. So I think PDP is almost dead and buried. They may, of course, have candidates during the election, but I wonder how these candidates from PDP will survive the 2027 elections, because the other opposition political parties are now better off gearing up. They are still having the problem of reconciliation and convention. Of course, they are going to have a convention of about over 7,000, delegates coming to Abuja. That's not convention per se, but a party, convention, yes, and which there are problems in the party. They say there are problems, but I think we're still going to come to it. Somebody said there's no threat to their convention because proper things have not been done for there to be a threat. So let me even stop at this. As we go on, we'll be able to bring in more updates as it relates to PDP.
Yes, I would say that the ruling party, APC, would definitely use the factionalism in PDP to win. Because with the way PDP is going, you find out that the Sheyi Makinde group and the Wike group, they are not united in any way. And unity is a paramount factor and indispensable to get towards winning any election. So this current disunity in PDP and the way they are unable to resolve their internal conflicts and crises is a major disadvantage to them. So the APC will definitely leverage this to win the election.
All right. When we speak to the PDP crisis, and is one issue that I feel that has been in the front burners and been overflogged. What are we talking about here? A man who fetches an anti-infested fire would definitely invite lizards to feast in his house. These whole issues, I feel, is orchestrated by the PDP. They had their chance. They had the chance to put their house in order. They never did. They had the chance to sanitize the party. Jetishing the anti-party stalwarts, including the governor of Oyo State today. They were all members of the G5 that danced on Ashebis against the whims and intents of PDP. But PDP was not bold enough to exercise them. Today, they've become an albatross to PDP. If they had done the needful when they needed, today, we won't be speaking about these issues. A lot of party members has deserted the PDP. Irrespective of what we want to believe, the PDP is sick. And if this issue is resolved, one cannot guarantee the fact that PDP will come back still strong as the PDP that we used to know. So, head or tail, they've played into the FCT minister's hands. Reconciliation or heading to the Supreme Court all works well for the FCT minister, who, like you've said, has not hidden his intention and his position. And for me, it's checkmate. And it's checkmate because PDP refused to stand strong. They refused to take action when they were supposed to be bold, close their eyes, and questioned their party bigwigs. They didn't. And today, the nation has to suffer for the issues in PDP because they've refused to give us the opposition that we clamored for. A party that Nigerians gave power. Nigerians gave them their all for many years. Then when it mattered most, they've deserted the people because they've not stood as an opposition political party. What we're seeing today is all clamor to be able to get hold of power, the vehicle for the next election. So I have no sympathy for what is happening in the PDP. And the issue remains that is either they reconcile or not. When they reconcile, they have to toe to the whims of their city minister. They go to court. Then, if there are delays, it works fine for the FCT minister camp as well. The emphasis remains that in whatever we do, we should continue to uphold the rule of the game. What does the PDP constitution say on this issue? When they petition the party constitution, what do you expect? This whole crisis that we're witnessing. Let's continue to watch and see how it unfolds.
It's a win-win situation for Wike.
Yes.
Whichever way it goes.
Yes.
It's a win-win situation.
Yes.
All right, thank you very much. We go on a short break. We'll be right back with more updates. Stay with us.
Morning headlines before you step out. Midday updates while you work. Evening analysis when the day winds down. Wherever life takes you, Aneke TV keeps you informed, connected, and ahead. Aneke TV. Move with the world.
Need advert placements, coverage for events, or the latest news stories? Call 070-3043-7110 right now. Aneke TV, move with the world.
Welcome back. We're still on the newspaper review. Now we go to the Guardian headline, which says ministers gauge support, popularity ahead of resignation deadline. Government ministers are assessing their level of public support and political influence as a resignation deadline approaches. This move suggests they are weighing their chances of retaining relevance or pursuing future political ambition before deciding whether to step down or to go away from the position. Now, this is from the president's directive that every public office holder should resign, who are going for a political office should resign from their public office so that they can be able to, go for that particular seat. Now, he gave this deadline, and that March 31st, that's in a few days to come, every one of them should resign. Ministers are already trying to garner support and see where they can fit in. And also, not just if in case they go for governorship election and they fail, let them also see how much capacity they have garnered or how much they can be able to influence or get the people to themselves. And this is what we are having. Like last week, Ms. Uche said about people who became governors and they later went back to the Senate House. So at the end of the day, we are still having these same people going around in the same seat of the government and no opinion from the outside. That is something that we have to look into.
All right, Mr. S, let's get your input on this.
These ministers and political appointees of the presidency are set to resign. But you see, resignation is one thing. But if you resign, what are the chances that you are going to get nominated to take the position? Like we have the minister Adelabu, the Minister of Power.
Yes.
And look at Nigeria wallowing in darkness. And then he's going to ask people to vote for him to become the governor of Oyo State. I wonder if he's going to do, and there are others, and Oyo, that is of Makinde, is that Shey Makinde?
Yes.
So you see, for him to resign, to seek for election and so on, what are his chances? What is he going to achieve? These are some of the things that one must think. And there are others in Bauchi, in Igbo State, like Oyejocha, who may possibly resign as a junior minister, only to possibly go back to the Senate if he wants to run for Senate. I'm not sure she's going to run for governor. She's going to run to become a senator. So these are things, and then they are already going about seeking for anointment, to be anointed by bigwigs within their constituencies or states and all that, so that if they resign, they will not lose what they have already. As ministers, they already have a job, but they are looking for a better job. But we still look at the quote of the day that has to do with contentment. Sometimes they say that a bird in hand is worth 2 million in the bush. These people are now going to sacrifice what they have because they want a bigger job. But who knows? Maybe they sacrifice and lose all. So it is something that one has to be careful about. Those who are resigning should be careful of resigning. Otherwise, they will lose what they have. And then the APC is almost getting ready for their party primaries, and of course, they are even doing some primaries today. Zonal primaries today. And sometimes, some people in the APC, they were even saying we have no threat. We have no threat. Our convention is not threatened. That is what they mean. And why is it not threatened? Because somebody who wants to be a zonal chairman from the South, that is, I'm talking about Fubara, Dagogo Fubara, went to court. It is said that he went to court, but he has not properly served the authorities that he should serve. And such things are things that are originating summons. So when you have such summons, it must be fully served before you begin to acknowledge that there's a court case. So for now, they are not threatened because there's no court case. And of course, the APC, in fact, they are good to go in almost everything they do. But for those who are resigning, they are not sure of what they are resigning for.
Well, looking at what's underplaying in Nigerian politics, you would see that when ministers behave this way, you begin to say that every move in politics is calculated. Every decision you make is calculated, geared towards maintaining what we call political survival, because they want to make sure they stay relevant. And the game here is power, resources, allocation, and influence. So they are trying to make sure that before they resign, they must have gained or galvanized the majority or the support of the people before they go over to the next party. So this is what we see in the policy.
All right, yes, it is what it is. But however, we look at this issue, we've been speaking to the Electoral Act, and there's still an aspect of the Electoral Act that seems very good, and that's what we're witnessing, where sitting appointees are beginning to calculate either to resign from their position before they vie for other offices. We've seen in this country where people sat on their positions and vied for other positions as well. But be that as it may, the resignation of ministers, as is enshrined in the Electoral Act, has become law. But the emphasis here is that the ministers, what they are looking at for, like you rightly pointed out, is the possibility of a greener pasture, the certainty that they will get the ticket, the certainty that where they want to go, which they already determined to be more lucrative than where they are. But the issue is the possibility of clinching that position, leaving the appointive position to clinch an elective one. One thing that is here is that if all calculations are put together, is not hinged on the interests of the people. When we take, for example, the sitting ministers who are clamoring for elective positions, the question remains, have they delivered on their position? Like you rightly said, what else are they going to give the people if they cannot deliver the deliverables from the position that they sit on? We take the issue of the power sector, for example. However, let me pause for now.
All right. In other news, we have federal government apologizes to Nigerians over poor power supply, and the blackouts. NISU releases 2,793 megawatts to 11 discos.
All right, Mr. S, let me quickly bring you into this conversation.
You see,
yeah,
2,000 watts, 793
megawatts to 11.
For a country of about 250 million people using electricity, 2,700 and something watts. So you find that there's no electricity supply in Nigeria. When you talk about countries like Nigeria, countries less than
Mr. S, sorry, let me cut in. Sorry to cut in. Are you saying that we shouldn't be jumping in joy and happiness? We are giving 2,793.
It is abysmal. It is not good.
Coming from darkness, we shouldn't be jumping up and rejoicing.
It was 1,000 something, yes, and they want to. So why is it news? Is it news? You want us to be jumping that we have to? That's exactly what I'm asking. You want us to start jumping that we have 2,700 megawatts of electricity for 250 million people, for many medium and small scale industries that are supposed to produce optimally, that are not producing, that are using alternative power supply that makes the prices of manufactured goods to rise up. What are you even talking about? So we are talking that in Nigeria, all nations with about 4 million people, they're already enjoying about 20,000 megawatts, 50,000 megawatts, and you are talking about 2,000 megawatts. And I don't know exactly what you're going to do with such a quantity of electricity for a nation as big as Nigeria. It is not done. The only problem we have in this country is that Nigerians are docile. They don't make a demand on the system. When you have situations like this in other crimes, you see them. The people could block the entire, national outfit. You remember what happened in Hong Kong sometime? The super highway was blocked and people said they were going to stay there for months and all that. So, but in Nigeria here, nobody comes out because the people with gun who are even maltreated by the government, they will still send them to go out with their gun and begin to harass these people. This is the kind of country we have. So it is not a palatable thing for us, and Nigerians are not happy.
Nigerians are not happy, and how do we show that we are not happy? The problem is that the ability for us as Nigerians to adapt very fast to situations like this is what is alarming, because it looks like we have this tough skin that we have been using somewhere, and we always bring it into occasions like this. The only time that people have heard our voices about certain issues as Nigerians is during the 2020 NSAS and all those things. But when we're having power issue that is affecting businesses, that is affecting even the household goods and other things that we're doing, that people do in their homes, even at the grassroots level, these things are a problem, and that ability to adapt is the problem. Enugu received their own in this. They are part of the 11 discourse, even Port Harcourt too. And looking at Port Harcourt and Enugu, what they are going to share. Let me not even talk about Enugu, because Enugu is actually, they are progressing, but in a particular light. But Port Harcourt particularly, there is something that is not right. 203 megawatts for them is not what that whole city would share together.
All right. Mr. Gerard, let's get your opinion.
Well, if you look at South Africa, countries like South Africa, United Kingdom, and Kenya, you find out that some of these countries, they are enjoying bigger megawatts. South Africa enjoys 70,000 megawatts. Kenya enjoys 40,000 megawatts. But here in Nigeria, where we have over 200 million people, we just have like 2,000. So the situation is really, really appalling. This will holistically make way for blackout, constant blackout, and it will affect businesses and economic development in Nigeria.
All right. You know, Mr. S, when you were talking, I was asking the question, shouldn't we be celebrating? Shouldn't we be jumping up when this makes it into the news? What are you expecting? The federal government are apologizing at the back of giving us 2,793 megawatts shared across the 11 discos. It's expected that we should be jumping up. It's expected that we should roll out the drum, go to the streets, and begin to drum and dance that our government has added a meager 2,793 megawatts of electricity. You know, there's a joke in China that every Nigerian, every working Nigerian is a mobile power generation set. And when you sit back to imagine what they are trying to say, you discover that yes, they are not far off. When you stop 10 persons on Nigerian streets, you will find them with a power bank. If you go across 11 shops, you're supposed to see nothing less than 22 generating sets, or even more, because some shops have more. Then you talk about solar, and we are talking about a nation that's been around, that's been sitting on quantum of crude oil exploration and exploitation over the years. How did we degenerate to this point where we are beginning to celebrate the fact that a meager 2,793 megawatts is distributed across for a population of over 250 million? Mr. Ressa, you say we shouldn't dance? We should dance. We should roll out the drum. We should dance at Ilogo. We should wear Ashebi and celebrate. Yet, a certain minister who sits in charge of power is seeking for other positions. Where in the world does that happen? Nigeria. Anyway, let's leave rest for other time. But I feel in awe. The government wants us to celebrate. We should roll out the drum. There should be sounds across the regions. Yes, we are giving Part 3 2,793 megawatts.
All right, thank you very much for that. Here is a wrap on our newspaper review for today. You can go out there and grab your favorite paper and also follow us on across all social media platforms and give us your opinion, what you think and how it is happening where you are. Thank you very much. Next is our tech updates. And Sajarad, over to you.
Well, on the tech updates, we are experiencing a major shift in digital marketing, search engine optimization, and artificial intelligence optimization. This simply means that we are leaving the traditional mode of search engine, which is Google optimizing index and giving us real-time information, to artificial intelligence trying to give us updated information on the Google index. So this is what we have on the tech update today.
All right,
thank you very much for that tech update. Now as we move over to sports, where I switch to the moving over to that, we have the new guys who are coming into play for Nigeria, the guys who were invited for the international. And we have in the sports punch extra, at the headline of it, we have, is it Okoye's time? Inform you Denise keeper returns for Eagles' #1 sport. And we have Mohamed Salah announces Liverpool exit. This is one of the news that can break the heart of football fans across the world. I mean, particularly Liverpool fans who have seen Mohamed Salah play and get them into the winning spree. Just that this season, we are still expecting the Salah man to, get these things before he leaves the Anfield. We're also talking about sports. Rashford missing on Barca's summer list. Rashford and Manchester United are yet to agree on, Barcelona and Manchester United are yet to agree on Rashford fee. That is bringing a problem, and right now there's no current contract that Rashford will have at the end of the season, but we're going to see that at the end of the day. And we have on the news that Iwobi makes 2025 football blacklist. Next to that, we have Osimhen eager to return for Galatasaray's title push after that injured hand that he got operated on yesterday. They said the operation was successful and he is going to be given 4 weeks to recover approximately. We still have Bremen chief Ruiz failed Boniface move, and United ready for 100 million Femin. United ready for Barca's spotlight guy for 100 million, and Arsenal lead 40 million euro Buadi race. And we have Enzo Fernandez from Chelsea. The Chelsea captain rejects new Chelsea offer. We're still talking about football, and we have the Real Madrid defender talking about the guy who plays a great game. I'm talking about Rudiger. Juventus open talks with Rudiger. Rudiger is talking with Juventus right now. And in boxing, we have Utuama's manager eyes world title. And one of the funny things we are seeing today is that Portable and Katefe are about to have a showdown on the boxing ring, and it's going to happen very soon. And a lot of issues have come out of this, that this may be a distraction to the major things we are having in the nation. But at the end of the day, it is sports, and whoever wins will go home with a prize. Thank you very much for that.
All right, thank you, Sports Oracle, for that sports update. And now let's quickly move over, as he has spoken as a Sports Oracle. Let me move over to Aneke TV's business desk, where I will bring you up to date with the Nigerian Stock Exchange performance from yesterday. And we can tell you that the Nigerian stock market reached a historic milestone this week. Yes, with the Osha index crossing the 200,000 point threshold for the first time. The market's closing the trading on Tuesday. Market on a very, very bullish note, where it gained approximately 1.1 trillion naira in a single session. That's a historic outing. And then speaking to the market capitalization, where we tell you that we surpassed the 130 trillion naira mark, making the year-to-date gain of nearly 13%. Yeah, 30%. And then speaking to the market breadth, we can tell you that we had 7 gainers compared to 23 losers, where Airtel Africa led the winners or the gainers, closing at 2,497 naira to make a positive change of 10%, followed by John Holt, which closed at 14 naira 30 kobo, making equally a 10% adjustment. We are looking at Legend Internet closing at 6 naira 60 kobo, equally bullish on the 10% adjustment. Consolidated Hallmark equally bullish as well, closing his book at 4 naira 95 kobo. And here is Ziki's Agro Allied closing on the bullish note, as well as he closes book on 10 naira 37 kobo. And quickly running to the losers chart, we'll see MPF Microfinance leading this chart of losers, closing the trade at 6 naira 56 kobo in the dip of 6.29% negative adjustment. Royal Exchange equaling the dip, closed at 1 naira 78 kobo, and we are seeing Capital Warehouse equaling the dip of 4.82% to close at 20 naira 75 kobo. UPDC equally in the dip, closing at 4 naira 95 kobo, making a negative dip of 3.88%. And when we move to the banking sector, we can tell you that this sector remains the spotlight as it enters the final week of the Central Bank of Nigeria's recapitalization deadline of March 31st. The Nigerian Exchange Banking Index rose by 0.05%, contributing to a 1-week gain of 2.62%. The key drivers here is the sentiment is currently driven by the news that approximately 30 out of 34 banks have already met the new capital threshold. Yes, investors are shifting focus towards long-term resilience and the potential for increased credit growth once the newly raised capital is deployed. And we're looking at the oil and gas sector, which continues to lead the market as the best performing industry year to date, though it's faced some daily volatility. Looking at the performance, we can tell you that while the index has seen a massive 60.83% growth so far in 2026, yesterday's trading showed a slight cooling off for some tickers, even as the broader energy market remains tight. What are the key drivers for the oil and gas sector? And we'll tell you it's being anchored by the heavyweight like Seplat Energy, yes, reaching market capitalization of 5.5 trillion naira, and Aradel Holding. Yes, another information here is that NNPC announced yesterday that Nigeria is positioned to increase crude oil production by 100,000 barrels per day in the coming months, targeting a 2026 average of 1.8 million barrels per day. Yes, and looking at the Naira, we can tell you that the Naira yesterday closed at the official market against the US dollar at 1,388 naira 38 kobo, and against the British pound it closed for 1,750 naira 45 kobo, and against the euro the Naira rose to 1,505 naira 20 kobo, while at the black market called the street market, yes, some say the parallel market, we saw the Naira holding its own at 1,410 naira against the US dollar, and whereas against the pound it rose to 1,795 naira, and against euro the Naira traded at 1,530 naira. And looking at the market drivers here, one of such is that after a period of relative stability near the 1,350 naira mark, the Naira weakened by approximately 2.48% yesterday. The official window opened at 1,388 naira 38 kobo, a decline from the 1,353 naira 90 kobo recorded at the close of last week. Now, one other issue here is corporate demand, where market analysts attribute the sudden spike in demand to end of quarter corporate requirements as businesses look to settle international obligations and import costs before the end of March. And then looking at the external reserve, where despite pressure, Nigeria external reserve remained healthy, hovering around 49.78 billion US dollars. While this is a slight moderation from the 50.45 million US dollar peak in February, it provides a strong buffer for the central bank to intervene if volatility persists. And then another issue here is capital requirement. Yes, sentiment is also influenced by the approaching March 31st deadline for bank recapitalization, with about 30 major banks already confirming they have met the new capital threshold. Now let's quickly look at Brent, where we'll tell you that yesterday Brent closed at approximately 101.41 to 103.47 dollar per barrel. Yes, and through the intraday high it went as high as 104 naira 35 cents on the peak. And then when we look at the market driver, it still remains due to the geopolitical uncertainty and due to the closure of the Strait of Hormuz. And then when we look at another issue between the US and Iran, where the Irans are claiming that there is no diplomatic engagement with the US, these are the points of the factors that drove the market yesterday as the US continued to deploy around 2,000 additional troops to the region. This in itself saw the risk premium getting higher. But let's quickly run to our market advice for today, and we can tell you that when we look at the market today, that first of all, that areas for you to look to take advantage of is the tier 1 banking sector. Yes, look at the tier 1 banking sector. With the March 31st deadline coming a week away, most investors are now beginning to take defensive position at the tier 1 banks, where they hope to gain from the appreciation in quarter 3 and quarter 4 results coming forward. And that's the much we can take now from the business desk. We hope that before you make any incursion into the financial market, please do well to consult a certified financial analyst due to the volatility of the market. Thank you, and do invest wisely.
And that's a wrap on Sunrise here on Aneke TV. Thank you for waking up with us. It's always a pleasure. I'm Good Hope Chukwu.
And thank you, Mr. Resarum, for those exciting, in-depth analysis on issues.
Thank you, Mr. Uche, for having me. And for you viewer out there, keep watching Aneke TV.
All right. And to you, Sir Gerard, thank you for those anchorage on the political leanings of the bourgeoisies and the political philosophers.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yes, it's always a pleasure to have you here. And Uche Osai, on behalf of all of us here on Sunrise at Aneke TV, we'll say thank you for watching and keep watching till we come your way same time tomorrow. Bye-bye.
In a world that never stands still, where stories break in seconds and moments shape history, one station keeps you connected to your nation, to the continent, to the world.
From breaking news to powerful stories, from business and politics to culture, lifestyle and entertainment, we inform, we inspire, we keep you ahead.
This is more than television. This is your window to everywhere that matters.
Aneke TV. Move with the world.
In the stories of ancient Greece, Achilles was more than a warrior. He was a hero whose strength could turn the tide of war, whose courage inspired loyalty, and whose presence commanded respect. His name had endured across millennia, a symbol of valor, power, and influence, a figure whose actions shaped destinies. Yet, Achilles' legacy was not only in the power he wielded, it was in how he used it. He fought not for personal glory alone, but for the honor and protection of those who depended on him. His might was purposeful, guided by responsibility, and measured by the lives he safeguarded. Today, Nigeria faces battles of different kind. These are battles fought not with swords, but with policies and principles. Our enemies are corruption, insecurity, inequality, and leadership that too often prioritizes ambition over accountability. These are struggles that affect millions, shaping the future of a nation rich in potential but fraught with challenges. The story of Achilles carries a lesson for our time. Strength without wisdom and responsibility is hollow. Power without vision can destroy more than it builds. Leadership in Nigeria demands more than force. It requires courage, foresight, and a commitment to the people. True heroism is not in personal triumph, but in the welfare of those entrusted to your care. The heroism Nigeria needs is tangible. It is reflected in leaders who listen to their citizens, govern with accountability, and deliver policies that empower communities, safeguard livelihoods, and create opportunity. It is measured by children in classrooms, families with secure futures, and communities that thrive. It is heroism that transforms potential into progress and challenges into triumph. Achilles' greatest victories were those that protected his people and honored his obligations. Similarly, Nigeria's most enduring successes will be those that prioritizes its citizens, safeguard their future, and uphold accountable people-centered leadership. Strength exercised for the common good, rather than personal gain is the truest measure of greatness. As the nation charts its path forward, the message is clear. Leadership must be courageous, visionary, and responsible. It must fight not for applause, not for legacy alone, but for the prosperity, security, and dignity of every Nigerian. When strength is wielded for the greater good, it becomes enduring. When power is guided by principle, it inspires. When leadership is accountable, it unites. The chapters of Nigeria's destiny are still being written. Its future rests not in the triumphs of a few, but in the collective progress of millions. The nation's victories will be measured not in fleeting fame, but in lives transformed, communities empowered, and hope restored. In the spirit of Achilles, Nigeria must find strength that serves, courage that protects, and leadership that uplifts. In that strength lies the promise of a stronger, united, and more prosperous nation. One that honors its people, secures their future, and fulfills its boundless potential. In a world that never stands still, where stories break in seconds and moments shape history, one station keeps you connected to your nation, to the continent, to the world.
From breaking news to powerful stories, from business and politics to culture, lifestyle, and entertainment, we inform, we inspire, we keep you ahead.
This is more than television. This is your window to everywhere that matters.
Aneke TV. Move with the world.
Nigeria's march towards the 2027 general elections is more than a routine democratic cycle. It is shaping up to be a defining test of institutional maturity, political culture, and national cohesion. Elections in Nigeria have historically served as mirrors reflecting both progress and persistent fault lines. As political actors reposition and citizens recalibrate expectations, the stakes are unmistakably high. The 2027 will not simply be about leadership transition, it will be about whether Africa's most populous nation can consolidate democratic credibility, deepen governance accountability, and manage intensifying socio-economic pressures without destabilizing its fragile political equilibrium. Public expectations heading into 2027 are likely to be unusually elevated, driven less by campaign rhetoric and more by lived realities. Chief among these is the demand for economic stability and opportunity. Inflationary pressures, currency volatility, unemployment, and cost of living anxieties have reshaped political consciousness. Voters increasingly assess government not by ideological narratives but by tangible economic outcomes, jobs, purchasing power, infrastructure, and social mobility. There is also a growing insistence on governance effectiveness. Citizens are showing declining tolerance for symbolic politics. Competence, policy cohesion, and measurable results across security, healthcare, education, and public services now weigh heavily in electoral judgment. Electoral integrity, too, has become central. After reforms introduced by the Electoral Act 2022 and the deployment of technologies such as beavers, Nigerians expect elections that are transparent, technologically reliable, and free from manipulation. The bar has been raised, and any regression could provoke significant public backlash. Equally important is the demand for accountability and trust restoration. The widening gap between political elites and ordinary citizens continues to fuel skepticism. Consequently, the 2027 elections will be judged not only on who wins, but on whether democratic processes are widely perceived as fair, inclusive, and credible. Several issues are poised to shape the contest. Economic performance will dominate political discourse, with debates likely to revolve around fiscal management, debt sustainability, industrialization, youth employment, and diversification beyond oil dependency. Security will remain an existential concern. Persistent challenges ranging from insurgency to criminal violence have placed state authority under strain, compelling voters to scrutinize strategies for restoring stability and strengthening institutional capacity. Nigeria's demographic realities further complicate the landscape. The youth population, increasingly digitally connected and potentially and politically expressive, is defining electoral engagement. Political parties that fail to adapt to issue-driven, technology-mediated mobilization risk strategic disadvantage. Questions surrounding federalism, restructuring, and resource governance will also continue to animate debate, reflecting enduring tensions within Nigeria's political architecture. Underlining these dynamics are structural challenges. Despite technological improvements, skepticism regarding result collection, judicial outcomes, and political interference persists. Perception gaps can be as destabilizing as actual irregularities. The influence of money in politics remains deeply corrosive, while identity-based polarization continues to shape electoral alignments, sometimes transforming competition into conflict. Technology itself presents a paradox. While enhancing transparency, it introduces vulnerabilities, system failures, cybersecurity threats, and the rapid spread of misinformation. Meanwhile, the increasing judicialization of elections, though constitutionally grounded, can erode public confidence if perceived as inconsistent or politicized. Voter apathy, driven by cynicism and distrust, poses an additional threat to participatory legitimacy. Strengthening democratic resilience requires a multi-layered response. Electoral credibility depends fundamentally on institutional dependence, transparency, and operational reliability. Campaign finance enforcement must become more robust to curb undue influence. Electoral technologies require continuous auditing and safeguards to sustain trust. Equally vital is the cultivation of an issue-based political culture, supported by civil society, media, and academia. Ultimately, democratic stability rests heavily on elite behavior. Commitment to peaceful competition, respect for institutional rules, and restraint in rhetoric are indispensable. Elections alone do not validate democracy. Credibility of processes, integrity of institutions, and confidence of citizens do. Nigeria's 2027 elections will unfold within a complex interplay of economic pressures, demographic shifts, technological transitions, and political recalibration. They will test whether reforms translate into trust, whether competition strengthens rather than fractures national unity, and whether governance outcomes reshape political legitimacy. As Nigeria advances towards 2027, the defining question is no longer whether elections will hold. It is whether they will deepen democratic resilience, reinforce national stability, and align political leadership more closely with citizen aspirations. The answer will shape not just an electoral outcome, but the country's democratic trajectory.
Welcome to Aneke TV, the heartbeat of culture, truth, and innovation. From breaking news to inspiring documentaries, from grassroots traditions, mysteries of life to global perspectives, we'll tell your stories. We amplify your voice and your vision. With every screen we light up, we connect, inform, and empower. It's more than a television. This is Aneke TV. We move with the world.
Good morning and thank you for joining us on The Insight today. Remember, The Insight is a program where we x-ray habits of policies, topics, newspaper headlines, issues that shape our nation. We bring you expert opinion, men and women who have been at the forefront of shaping these policies. And today, we will be speaking with a distinguished academic, a former deputy chairman of an LGA, a two-time special advisor to the government of Enugu State, an astute administrator, and presently the executive chairman of Ezagu local government in Enugu State, speaking about Honorable Dr. Vitalis Chinedu Ndu. Honorable, It's a pleasure to have you on this site.
Thank you, Chair. My pleasure too.
Yeah, I'm so happy to finally have seen you. I've seen you in the media a lot, and thank you that today I'm meeting you firsthand.
Thank you.
Honorable, let's talk about the recent award, the most local government chairman, copper-friendly chairman in Enugu State. It was an award, and that award for us in particular speaks volume, because it's not an award that we'll see given anyhow or anywhere. Chairman, what informed that award?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. This question could have been asked to the state coordinator of NYSC.
Okay.
But given what she said, we did what I consider the basic things a local government chairman is supposed to do. And when I was given the award, I said it is a product of teamwork and dedication to service. What did we do? Simple things that we're supposed to do. Taking care of the people in our locality as coppers, helping them to relocate to a new environment, like sending buses to go and get them to the new place where they are posted, and then giving them orientation, how they can cope and relate with the locals, and then interacting with the police also to ensure that they assist them. These are things I think it's basic for a council chairman to do. And they find it worthy that I should come and be given an award in that regard. But for me, I don't think it's an award. I think it's a motivation that people should do the right thing when they are in power. Because I remember vividly, I did my service at Kwara State. And at the Bata camp, when we were passing out, I saw a bus that is destined to different localities where we have been redeployed. So when my aides will write letters to me that new coppers are being sent to exact local government and they need an approval for them to go and convert them, I think it's a normal thing. Okay. So for me, I think we did what we were supposed to do.
All right. Now that you mentioned it, a very catch word for me. When we do research, when we talk about you, the first thing people say is a people-centered policies. That's how they describe you. A people-centered servant leader. But before I go into that, what informed a man like you to delve into Nigerian politics? Because it's unheard of. You've been outside this nation, very successful. You've been successful in the academia. And as a private person, and one wouldn't expect your likes in Nigerian politics. What informed you wanting to go into politics, first of all?
Well, naturally, my stint in leadership is always accidental. Maybe you didn't mention that in my university, I was a president of Students' Union.
Okay.
I contested that office because a few friends how we go to read think I should contest. And they campaigned, and I contested, and I won. So some of these things are simple service.
For you, it's just service to humanity.
It's just service. That's what it is. For the issue of being chairman of the local government, of course, you did mention that I was a deputy chairman. One day my phone rang in 2008. A flag bearer of a political party, he said he wants me to be his running mate. That was my journey to becoming a deputy chairman. And in everything you do, you learn. So I spent 4 years as a deputy chairman. In the academic, for a 4-year program, you should be having your BSc or BA. And if you have an experience and something calls for that, you need to give your services. Of course, I lecture in the university, I teach management. So if my people say they find me worthy to come and serve them as a council chairman, I think I have to put in my best and serve them. So it's not restricted to people who are doing politics. For me, I think even politics should not be a career. It should be something you do as a service and return back to base.
Okay. Well said. Let's now talk about your policies and actions. The Future is Green initiative. What's that all about?
Yeah, you really mentioned about people-centered decisions.
Yes.
In terms of policy. one of the things we did is being mindful of our people's needs. Of course, a whole lot need to be done, but you need to scale it, how important they are. The problems of Ezza local government may be different from Enugu North local government. In our locality where we came in, we observed paucity and scanty means of transportation. We organized what we called a youth seminar, but these children couldn't find it easy to commute or transport themselves from the local government to where they may eventually get buses to the locality. We have interacted with our civil servants, and they are finding it difficult, very high, to meet commuters to come to the local government. So we launched the Ibudo Mass Transit as a social intervention, not purely for economic gain, but to bridge that gap so that they will not be exploited, so that transport can be affordable. That was the first thing we did because we know they need it. Even though it's difficult to manage it, you could understand what it means in Nigeria to manage people where you don't follow them. And even if you mount a digital network there are areas where there's no network for you to know what is happening.